everybody. It's a really great day here at the Pace Studio because I'm with Philippa Coulthard. We're here to talk about Howard's End. I'm so glad it's back. It only took 20 years to do a good revival of it. Tell me about your role as Helen.
So I play Helen Schlegel, and she is the younger sister, and she's very audacious and impulsive, and outspoken and idealistic, and she sort of kicks off a lot of the drama, I'd say, by mistakenly picking up someone's umbrella at a concert of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. She's just sort of searching for meaningful connections and relationships in life and trying to find her way as a woman in Edwardian England. And,
It's a very modern story, I think. I think it's still relatable because those women just Helen and Margaret just do what they want. They're kind of trailblazers, I thought, independent spirits. And I love that Helen does something impulsive and it kind of changes the course of everything. Tell me about, does that relate to you at all in real life?
In some senses.
Like, can you relate to something where, like one thing happened and it felt like it changed everything?
I mean, I often, think of myself as being, far more cautious than Helen and certainly not as reckless or... and that's certainly true in a lot of ways. But then sometimes I do think I have done things that I think, oh, that was like a bit of a Helen move. I moved to New York today.
That
so
feels like a Helen move.
Yeah. And I've sort of done that a bunch of times. I just sort of picked up and moved to Los Angeles and then moved to London. And so I think I am curious about the world and, want to explore and that sort of thing. And I guess have realized that if I think too much about it or do too much planning, which I have a tendency to do, then I might rethink it and not do it. So, with this New York move, I've tried to do minimal thinking about it. And, so I got 3 suitcases and we'll see how it goes.
Oh my goodness. Everything's in 3 suitcases? That's the most astounding thing.
I thought I did a bad job. You're supposed to move with... they're quite big and... how do you go up a walk up?
Well, that's true.
It's going to be very messy.
That is true. With 3 suitcases, I'm very impressed. I think everyone will be. I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
And I think that's really brave to just say I'm going to move and not overthink it. Maybe people think too much. We need less thinking, everybody. No, just kidding.
No. And that's also not what Helen and Margaret would say at all. Because they actually do a huge amount of thinking, and I think that's what separates them from the other characters in the story, particularly the Wilcox family, who I feel are, they don't sort of agonize over, the Schlegels. That really can...
It does.
Schlegels. So the Schlegels can really... they sit around and will discuss politics and philosophy and literature and, they want to look at everything from every angle. And I think Helen and Margaret are always so aware of their, try to really be aware of their privilege and that they have quite a narrow view of the world because of that and aim to widen that view. Whereas the Wilcoxes, I think, they're less sentimental, they're more straightforward, and, they just sort of go out and they just get things done, and, it's not something that you should ponder about. And, so Helen and Margaret are very much for thinking. I think just in a few instances, Helen's heart sort of races ahead of her, and, that's when sort of a lot of the excitement in this story happens.
Well, I think, too, the Wilcoxes, that they're kind of the haves. And maybe when you have a lot, which I am a very average American, I guess. But when you have a lot of things, you have more freedom to just, talk about things and
Yeah.
live like they do because they had more opportunity to.
Yeah.
And they don't need a safety net.
Yeah, and I think what I love about Helen and Margaret is that they sort of acknowledge the hypocrisy in that, the idea that, both of those extremes are a real form of privilege, like, not having to sort of think about those things and being blissfully ignorant is a real privilege. Goodness me, privilege. And then as well for the Schlegel sisters, the luxury to sit around and discuss politics and things, that's very different to the third family in the story, which is the Basts, who really are not given, that luxury to really assess the world and question it is not something that they have. It's more of a day-to-day struggle, and life is much more simplified and
And immediate.
Yeah.
Thinking about what you're going to eat next, what you're going to do next. It's a little more.
Yeah, there's less room to sort of, agonize about politics and philosophy. And Mr. Bast, is, he's a bank clerk with like the heart of a poet and desperately wants to sort of delve into all of that. But there's really not much room in his life for that.
And in that's where I feel like it's very relatable to now, because I think, that's something that's always been. And that's why the story holds up, I think, in a lot of ways, is because you can still really relate to all those different haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what the story's about. Let's talk about fashion. I came in a Howard's End inspired shirt today.
You did.
You, of course, look very modern and summery, and I love it.
I don't know why I'm summery.
Well, it is
Inappropriate.
Well, this sweater is holy. I don't think it's helping. It's see-through.
It's very
not
nice.
Keep me that
though.
warm.
I really
But
like
I love the fashion in this. Would you want to wear clothes like that all the time? Was it a pain to get into them? With the big skirt and the everything.
I mean, I think, of a lot of the sort of, it was certainly more on the practical side than, say, like some of the 18th century dresses, but definitely the corset is not, ideal, but you do, in a lot of ways, get used to it, and the director, Hetty, and the way Kenny Lonergan wrote the script, it was very much not wanting this to feel mannered or stiff, because it can sort of lend itself to that period drama acting and being stilted and formal, which at the end of the day, they're still people and they're still characters, and that these clothes should feel like clothes and not costumes. So yeah, she was like, no, you need to get comfortable in that corset. And, Helen has quite bad posture in this miniseries. That's largely because I have quite bad posture. I'm like actively thinking about this now, and I'm still not even very, I'm just so rubbish. And anyway, and I was thinking, like, you're wearing a corset and you're finding a way to slouch in a corset. But I also think that's quite Helen. And, I think the way that Haley and I tried to move in this, in the miniseries was to try and feel, like, comfortable and that we still would move, like the characters would, and not be too sort of restricted. But yeah, I love the clothes, getting dressed every day. Like, it was the ultimate form of dress-ups, and especially for me, this being my first costume drama, and I've adored, BBC period drama since I was very little, and I don't think I even really understood what they were about. But, I could tell that there were all of these people in these big dresses talking about things but not really saying what they felt, and, there's so much going on underneath, and, if you're a kid that loves acting, you're always in the dress-up box, and this really is the ultimate form of dress-ups. So, yeah, I had a ball.
I loved it. And I guess that if you were used to wearing a corset, like they were back then, you would feel comfortable and natural.
Yeah, you would know how to move in it. You would know how to. But I mean, Hayley has done, several costume dramas, and she was sort of giving me tips on how to make it work. And I'm trying to think what was one of the tips, like. Oh God, have I forgotten Hayley's tips? About. So sort of when they're doing up the corset, making sure you breathe out a bit. And so it's like, so that it's a bit bigger. And so you can be like, hee hee.
Oh,
then,
to trick them.
Yeah, to trick them.
Like
And
it.
so then,
I like the idea of
you're
tricking
less
them.
like sort of squeezed in. And we would keep them on from like the beginning of the day to the end of the day. So you're wearing them for a long time. But you don't really notice them too much. It's only at the end of the day when you take it off and you're like, oh my goodness, that was really tight, yeah.
Yeah. When you're so trim, you don't even need a corset. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, I don't know. I guess so. Good for posture.
Yeah,
That's
good for posture. Oh, it should be.
Good lessons. Lessons. So you're originally from Australia, correct?
Yes.
What kind of threw you into acting? Or did you always want to act?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, my family is not, in any way involved in show business. Like my parents are very sciencey and in like medicine and but I think from about the age of 10, maybe even a bit earlier, I was just sort of hammering on about wanting to be an actress and could not really be dissuaded. But I did realize they weren't really taking me seriously. So then for my Christmas and birthday present, I was like, I want an agent. Because I knew that was one of the things you needed to be an actress, was an agent. And my parents, were just, my dad wears Crocs and socks, and this is not their world. And they somehow, I think they must have Googled something that was in Brisbane, which is not a real hub for auditions by any means. But they found someone, and I just sort of started doing auditions, and I just loved it, and yeah.
Kept going. Well, it's cool that they finally believed you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they once I sort of started going, they've always been very supportive, so that's good. And I just think I was just a pain, really, so they couldn't really ignore it.
Well, I have kids in that age range, so I can understand.
Do they seem in any way theatrically
Oh,
inclined?
I have one that very much is,
Mhm.
and so he's been on some shoots with me, and then I have one that has no interest at all, just totally fine, because my
Yep.
husband is not. He says like, "Don't take a picture of me,"
Yeah.
which is fine. He's a lawyer, and that's what they do.
Yep.
They're very private people.
Yes.
Does your dad still wear Crocs with socks?
Yeah, he does. It's sort of a rotation, sometimes sandals and socks, Crocs and socks. Yeah, my sister like hates the Crocs with a passion, but for Christmas she bought us all Crocs, everyone except for her. But, it's quite annoying now because they are, in my wardrobe at home.
Right.
And like, if the dogs are barking in the garden, I need to go and get them or something, and the Crocs are right there, and
Then you put them on.
you put them
She
on.
turned you into a Croc wearer. Well,
No, I don't want that.
I know. I can
No.
see how you're dressed right now. I can tell it's not a Croc. It's not a serious Croc situation.
Well,
So are you the older or younger sister?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, so you got to pretend to be a younger sister.
Yeah, which is nice, and I think, of the two of us, my sister is sort of more of the Helen, more of the wild child. So it was nice to play a Helen.
Yeah, I'm the older sister too, the younger sister.
Are you more of a Margaret?
I am.
Yep.
I'm more of a type A Margaret.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing
But
wrong
so you
with
got
that.
lots of experience watching your sister be
Yeah.
a wild child maybe, or more of a free spirit.
Yeah,
I don't
free
know
spirit.
her.
Yeah, certainly a free spirit and quite impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're a little free too.
Oh, thank you.
I think that is obvious. What else do you plan to do when your big move to New York City? I feel like I'm meeting you on a very momentous day. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
you've moved here
Yeah.
as of today. What are the big plans? I mean, don't tell people where you're moving, but like...
I think I'm just excited to, walk around in the city and just sort of when you get to know a place and, not I don't sort of have any, like, particularly touristy things. I mean, if anything, I want to be not a tourist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to sort of feeling familiar with places and, and it's just, there's such an energy here. And, I've lived in London and I've lived in LA for a while before as well. And so it's, I think it's just nice to get the feel of a city. And, I'm excited for that.
I agree. I think that when you move somewhere, I moved a lot growing up, and some in my adult life, but it's just nice to like really get to feel a town. And then when you move on, you still like really know it like a person, kind of.
Yeah.
But it does kind of take on that role in your life where you're like, oh, I know where that is. I feel comfortable here.
Yeah, and, know where your favorite food places are, or even the ones that you hate, and you can be like, oh, I remember that. And, I'm excited for that. I think, I love moving to new places and sort of being out of my comfort zone in that sense. And, we'll see what happens.
Are your parents still in Australia?
Yeah, so they're all in Brisbane. And, it's so lovely to go home. And I usually try and go home for, like, because just going, that huge flight, just going for anything less than a month, I feel, is sort of not really worth it. So I'll try and go for like a good chunk of time. And I feel like my mum is always like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to the... My mum hates it when I do her voice, but, you want to go to the museum? Or, and I don't know, I feel like they almost want to show off Brisbane again to me, but, what's most exciting to me about coming home is just sort of staying at home, spending all my time with the dogs, and just sort of, existing at home and enjoying my mum's fully stocked pantry and, just being in Australia, going in the pool and the veranda. Yeah.
Well, it sounds lovely. I've never been there, but...
It is lovely.
But now you've given your parents a place to come visit. That's new.
Yeah.
Will they do that?
I think they will. I mean, my mum definitely will. My dad is a bit of a workaholic. He's hard to extract from Brisbane, but they will.
Dads can be that way.
Yeah. No, they'll definitely come and visit. I know my sister and brother will, so I'm sure they'll come. They've been to New York before and they love it.
So the show is coming out, this miniseries event. What would you say is the part that would be most memorable for you?
I mean, without giving any spoilers, which
right.
is...
Well, it's
I
a
mean,
movie and a book.
It's a 100-year-old book, but...
well, don't spoil too much, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the relationship between the sisters is really special, and I guess every character goes on quite a journey, and that's what's so lovely about Forster's characters and the way Kenny's captured them is that, every character feels very fully formed and flawed and nuanced and, so I think just enjoying a closer look at these characters because, the miniseries does give the luxury of 4 hours to sort of go in depth and, that was, very vague, but...
That's vague is fine. I would say a miniseries is always better for, I shouldn't say always, I think it's almost always better for a book because there's so much depth to a character and like, if you really love a book and then it's a 2-hour movie, there's just so much that gets lost when you watch it. Not that the movie is great, but obviously won awards. But
yeah, it's amazing.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
But I really love this miniseries because it does go into a little more into the relationships, a little more into the feeling that I think was the original intent of the book, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're two very different takes on the stories, and I mean, they have to be because, the Merchant Ivory has, a really limited amount of time, and so it's such an amazing concentrated sort of hit of the story. And but no, I think that's definitely true, that you get a lot more of that detail and get to sort of inhabit that world a little bit more.
Yeah, and you don't feel like you got, I don't want to say cheated, but you don't feel like you missed anything. Like, you don't sit down at the end and go, oh, we really skipped this really great part of the book, because they only had 2 hours. But you feel like you get the whole experience. So I think people are going to love it. I really loved it. It's beautiful. And you were great in it.
Oh, thank you.
So, but thank you so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, lovely to talk to you.
It's been great. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thanks.